You're 38 years old. An HVAC technician in El Paso, Texas. Never married, though you came close once. Close enough that the ring is still in a shoebox under your bed, because you never figured out what else to do with it. You rent a single-bedroom apartment on Yandell Drive, $980 a month. 3rd floor, window unit you installed yourself, because the building's central system died in 2021, and the landlord stopped pretending he'd fix it around month 4. You drive a 2010 Dodge Ram work van, 212,000 miles, a side panel that rattles on the highway, and a company logo peeling at the corners since last summer. You make $47,000 a year, $3,200 in your checking account, 0 in savings, and a student loan that has been collecting interest for so long, it has nearly doubled itself. You eat peanut butter toast most mornings because it's fast and you're always running late. You have a cat named Gerald, who costs more at the vet than you budget for, and you pay it anyway. Because Gerald is honestly the most functional relationship in your life. This is what 38 looks like, when nothing went catastrophically wrong, but nothing went especially right either. On a Thursday morning in August, your boss sends you a loan to service a rooftop HVAC unit at a commercial storage facility on the east side of town. Borderline self-storage. 12 rows of orange doors baking off Alameda Avenue, in the kind of heat that makes the air above the asphalt ripple and bend. The facility manager, a heavy-set man named Ruiz, smells like cigarettes and doesn't make eye contact. He gives you roof access and disappears back into his air-conditioned office. You spend 40 minutes up there. The repair takes 10. Failed capacitor. Routine. You're packing your tools when you notice the access hatch on the north end of the roof is not latched properly. Not broken, just open, like someone closed it in a hurry and didn't check. You're an HVAC tech. Unlatched hatches are your jurisdiction. You open it. The shaft drops 4 feet to a horizontal duct run, and sitting inside that run, wedged against a metal crossbrace, is a backpack. Black. Tactical. No business being inside a duct system. You reach in and pull it out. It is extraordinarily heavy. Inside, vacuum-sealed plastic bricks, 14 of them. Dense, compressed, wrapped tight, and underneath, rubber-banded stacks of $100 bills, slightly damp from the condensation, bands brittle from age. You count the loose cash, $340,000. You don't know exactly what the bricks are worth, but you know what they are. You stand on a rooftop in 103-degree heat, holding a backpack containing somewhere between $3 and $4 million in street value. You put it in your tool bag. You latch the hatch behind you, walk downstairs, hand Ruiz the service receipt, and drive away, at exactly the speed limit, the entire way home. Your hands don't shake until the I-10 on-ramp. Then they shake so hard, you grip the wheel with both hands like a man fighting a current. You miss your exit. You take the next one. You sit in a Walgreens parking lot for 22 minutes, staring at the bag on the passenger seat, before you can make yourself drive again. At home, door locked, bag between your feet on the bathroom floor. You breathe. The smart thing is obvious. The legal thing is obvious. Every rational instinct you have is pointing in the same direction. But then you think about $3,200 in your checking account. You think about the student loan compounding toward $31,000. You think about Gerald's vet bill, sitting on a credit card that barely has room left on it. You hide the bricks in the kitchen cabinet behind the cleaning supplies. You hide the cash under the bathroom sink behind spare towels. You go to bed. You stare at the ceiling until 4 a.m. You go to work the next morning, like nothing happened. The first week nearly breaks you. Every car that slows near your van is someone sent to collect. Every stranger who holds eye contact a second too long knows something. You wake up at 3 a.m., convinced someone is standing in the corner of your bedroom. It is. Every time. Your work jacket on the door hook. You lose £7 without trying. But nothing happens. Nobody calls. Nobody comes. By week 3, you start spending carefully. Small amounts. Cash only. Stores far enough from your apartment that the transactions feel disconnected from your real life. You pay off the credit card. 3 months of rent in advance. Gerald gets premium food instead of store brand, and eats it with an enthusiasm that makes you feel, briefly, and completely absurdly, like everything might actually be fine. You don't touch the bricks. You don't know how to move them, and you're not stupid enough to find out. Week 5. You finally do the research you should have done on day 1. You look up borderline self-storage. The facility changed ownership 14 months ago. The previous owner, a man named Thomas Vega, sold it, then turned up dead in Ciudad Judegrez, 8 months later. Homicide. Investigation ongoing. 4 sentences in a local paper. No follow-up. You search cartel activity in Webb County. You find a DEA press release from 3 months ago. A disrupted distribution network, operating through storage facilities along the border corridor. 11 arrests, multiple seizures, and 1 line that stops you completely cold. Investigators believe additional stash points remain unlocated. Not abandoned. Unlocated. Someone is still looking. Week 7. You're finishing a job in the lower valley. You come back to your van at lunch and find a folded piece of white paper tucked under the windshield wiper. Block letters. Blue pen. You took something from Alameda. We know the van. You read it 4 times. In the front seat, with a breakfast taco going cold in your lap. Your van, with the peeling logo, parked at a dozen different jobs across El Paso, every single day. You drive home. You sit in your apartment and look at your kitchen cabinets and understand that the window you thought you had has been closed from the outside. 6 days later, you come out of a grocery store on Montana Avenue, 7 p.m., and there is a woman leaning against your van. Late 30s, dark hair, dressed like she works in an office somewhere downtown. Completely, utterly, ordinary. That is the most frightening thing about her. She says your first name. She says the people she represents are patient, but not infinitely so. She says they're prepared to consider whatever cash you've already spent as a handling fee. No further discussion needed. She hands you a burner phone. 1 contact saved. The name is just call within 72 hours. Then she mentions your brother in Albuquerque. The same way you'd mention someone's college major. Just context. Just information. Then she walks to a grey sedan. And she's gone. You stand in a parking lot. Frozen food melting in your bag. A stranger's phone in your hand. And your brother's name sitting in your chest like a stone. That night, you call your brother. You don't explain anything. You just listen to his voice for 30 minutes and file it somewhere safe inside your memory. Hour 58. You call R. The voice is calm, unhurried, faintly accented. The voice of a man for whom this conversation has no emotional cost whatsoever. He outlines the terms. Return the backpack. Bricks untouched. Return the remaining cash. Leave El Paso within 21 days. Never speak of this again. To anyone. Ever. You ask what happens if you try to negotiate. He says, there is nothing to negotiate. As pleasantly as a man reading back a menu order. You ask how you know they'll honor the deal. He says you don't, but that a probability of survival is worth more than a certainty of the opposite. You agree. The exchange happens 2 nights later. Parking structure off Mesa Street. Level 3. 11 p.m. 2 men. They count the bricks by feel without opening the seals. One of them photographs your face with his phone. You ask why. He says, it's for their records. And you understand, in that exact moment, that the photograph is the actual agreement. Your face is now attached to a file that says you cooperated. That file is what keeps you alive. Not their goodwill. Not the deal. The file. They leave. You stand alone in a concrete parking structure. Gerald waiting at home. $0 saved. Student loan still at $31,000. Exactly where you started. You leave El Paso 18 days later. 2 weeks' notice at work. Lease broken. Deposit forfeited. Gerald in his carrier on the passenger seat. North on the E25, toward Albuquerque, toward your brother's couch, toward whatever comes next. Your brother asks what happened in El Paso. You say, it didn't work out. He nods. Brothers do that. You get a job in Albuquerque. Slightly less pay. Slightly higher rent. Marginally worse by every number than the life you had before that Thursday in August. Gerald likes the new apartment. He sits in the window and watches the street below, with the focused calm of a creature who has never made a catastrophically stupid decision and has no idea what that costs. You watch the street too, just differently. You check your locks twice every night. You sit facing the door in restaurants. You notice grey sedans specifically, because of the woman in the parking lot, and because El Paso is only 4 hours south, and highways run both directions. You gain nothing that lasted. You only lost things that did.